Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, January the 25th, race number 8 at Gulfstream Park. Let's throw up the field for this synthetic sprint going 5.5 furlongs, $16,000 starter allowance, $16,000 claiming option. The 5-Party Pleaser, one of several 3-year-old fillies in this race, getting Lasix for the first time. And that last race is just another throwout, isn't it?
Yeah, they tried to stretch this horse out in a stakes race on dirt. I don't think you're supposed to be too hard on her for it. And I'll be honest, I didn't really feel like anybody was going to be a super short price in this race. And now I see that she's 7-5 on the line. Maybe that's a little short. I do think she's way the horse to beat in here, though.
For a short sprint, there doesn't seem to be a ton of speed in here. We throw up our Timeform US pace projector, and Sweet Miss chased a very fast pace going 2 turns last time out. Maybe she makes the lead, but it's not like she's some blazer. Neither is the one Nikki Jolene, although I do think Nikki Jolene's jockey, John Velasquez, is going to be pretty aggressive from the stalls.
It's going to be interesting to see if she's if this is the right spot for her to show speed again, Dan, because in her most recent first start over this all-weather surface, she didn't have any speed at all in that race and couldn't get anywhere near the leaders, but it was a tougher field.
If the pace does heat up, keep an eye on the 7 Special Affair. Note the LP designation. That means that she has Timeform US's fastest late pace figure. We'll start things off with Nikki Jolene. Lone Win came going 5/8 on the turf. Did so in gate-to-wire fashion that day against fellow New York breds. Just continues to drop for a very good trainer, because you mentioned the last race. It was her first start on the all-weather. She didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was a tougher field than this one. So, I mean, maybe you don't have to be too hard on her for it, Dan, but she just didn't really do anything. She was wide, breaking from post 6, never got anywhere towards the inside, and never got anywhere near the leaders in there, and just kept losing ground all through the race. It was not a good performance. This is the right class drop for her.
It is the right class drop, to be sure. 2 and 3 starts back against stakes horses. Throw those races out. The prior 2 efforts were good. Dropping with speed, not a bad angle at all in these sort of lower level races. Pam's Palace is the number 2. Now she's going to be trying synthetic for the first time off this maiden breaking score on dirt at Tampa Bay Downs going 7/8. Just got the right trip in this race, and I think caught the right field as the favorite. Sat off of a moderate pace, took over in the stretch, kept on going. Palace Malice does okay with synthetic horses. 17% with all-weather sprinters.
Yeah, it gets the job done here, going 7 on the dirt. It doesn't really look like she's relishing the 7 furlongs either, Dan. So maybe, dropping back in distance helps her. But now you have a surface switch to deal with for a filly who's just going to have to be way better on the all-weather than she is on dirt.
Interesting spot for the 3, Little Minsky, who made her career debut in this race, a $16,000 maiden claimer going 5/8. And she showed some good things in this race at a huge price, Mike. She's in with a chance turning into the stretch. She's got to weave all the way out to the outside. And when she does, she still runs on for second. Confident placement facing winners for the first time, but gets Lasix. And the buyer share in this race puts her right in the thick of things.
Yeah, this wasn't a really good trip for a first. She's the only first-time starter, too, by the way, Dan. It's a big field. She did not get a good trip in there, and she actually really ran at the end of that race at a big price. I don't necessarily love the move to run her against, horses who have already won a race now, but she certainly ran well enough in that debut to consider her in this spot.
No Fake is the number 4. Now, this horse hasn't shown much speed from 2 lifetime starts. Let's watch this race going 5.5 furlongs, a maiden winner, 16,000 on December the 1st. No Fake well off of the pace, and the pace was hot for this level. 22 and 3 for the opening quarter. No Fake runs him down.
Yeah, it just keeps finding here through the stretch, and she's going to take this race over late. She also stayed on really, really well in her career debut, I thought. She had even less speed first time. I just didn't get anywhere near the lead, but she stayed on well late again last time with a step forward. I think maybe she has to take one more step forward here, Dan, but that's certainly not impossible.
8th place finisher from that race came back to place in a 12-5 maiden claim, earned a 56 buyer speed figure. Party Pleaser is the number 5. This is your morning line favorite, getting Lasix for the first time for Safi Joseph. They tried stakes horses. They tried 2 turns. They tried dirt. She was a big price. She ran like a big price. Throw that race out. Her prior synthetic form, those buyer speed figures put her right in the mix, and she's got tactical speed, a very logical contender.
Yeah, and they're good performances too. Her all-weather races. The second career start when they dropped her just came with a big run up the fence late and just missed in that race. It felt like it was an impossible for her to even get that close to the leaders, and she almost got there. She won very easily to break her maiden in her next start, and then she just faced a better field too back then. I thought she ran fine in that race.
Sweet Miss might have found the distance a little bit too far last time out, stretching out 3.5 furlongs for a two-turn race. There was a runaway leader setting a very fast pace. Sweet Miss was on the chase and she tired. Now she turns back to a more appropriate distance, and maybe this time she's the one carving out the fractions.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe she will show speed in this race and sort of get towards the front and make herself dangerous. I don't love her form overall, Dan. And she goes out for some lower percentage connections here, but maybe that just leads to a good price on a horse who could get a good trip in this race.
Special Affair, the number 7, gets Lasix for the first time. Let's watch her most recent start going 5/8. She broke pretty sharp in this race, just didn't have the speed to stay with the early leaders. She's saving ground into the lanes, going to alter course to the outside, and once in the clear, finishes just fine to be third. Her lack of early speed is a little bit worrisome if you believe this pace isn't fast, but she appears to be in good form.
Yeah, boy. I mean, you handicapped her just the way that I did, Dan. She got off to a good start in that race and then just couldn't keep up with the pace. And she did run on pretty well late in there. To me, it's just one of those races though where it never looked like she was going to win. And it was a race that sort of had a fast pace in front of her. So I'm not sure how much credit I really want to give her. Obviously, those first two starts of her career, she runs one of those. She could easily win here.
Completing the field is the number 8, Wisco Disco, making her first start off the claim. Kelsey Danner, a very underrated trainer, decides to go with a Rad Ortiz here, and first-time Lasix and first-time synthetic by Take Charge Indy. 19% winners with synthetic sprinters, but this horse was listed as a vet scratch 3 weeks ago and hasn't raced since mid-November.
Yeah, it's just a really tough call for me in this race anyway. I don't think she has to improve that much on the surface switching off the claim here. Kelsey Danner, as you mentioned, she does a good job. She has pretty modest numbers off the claim. So we'll see how much she can get this horse to improve. Just a real wild card. Irad probably pulls some money her direction. I don't think I would want any kind of short price on it.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Forum YouTube channel. Huge week of racing with the Pegasus World Cup on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Top pick time, Friday race of the day at Gulfstream. You're going with Party Pleaser. She's the horse to beat, dropping in class, dropping in distance, getting back to her proper footing.
Just a really logical horse in here. I'm not going to advocate too hard for it at a super short price, Dan, but I do think she's way the horse to beat.
Special Affairs, where I'm going to go, the number 7. Wish she had a little bit more early speed, but I thought her kick last time out was promising, and I think she'll run on again at the end of this race. 5374 for Mike, 7348 for me. Thursday's race of the day, the 8th at Gulfstream Park. Best of luck.